Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Jayne Mansfield. She earned her place as a Hollywood legend. Even back in her time, there were too many actresses concerned with being aloof, like they were above being sex symbols. Jayne Mansfield took the opposite approach. She gave in to her sexuality at full throttle. There wasn't anything uptight about her, and people really enjoyed watching her in movies and on television. Publicly, she was also a nice person and didn't throw off that vibe of the spoiled actress. Jayne was famous for playing bubble-headed bimbos. What surprises a lot of people is that this was actually good acting, as she had a near-genius IQ and was a violin virtuoso. She also had good business sense because, financially, she was much better off than most of her contemporaries. I don't know about you, but I think all of this adds to the sexiness of Jayne Mansfield. I've seen an awful lot of pictures of the older actresses and models and pinup girls from back in the day, and believe it or not, the jungle print bikinis, it's not as common as you might think. Most of them just didn't wear them. You think that they would because it's always kind of memorable. You just have that image in your mind that, oh, you know, for the racy pictures, they always wore the leopard skin bikinis and everything. But believe it or not, most did not. It was always memorable when they did, for sure. Jayne Mansfield in particular, in her zebra print bikini that she wears, she looks just like an old Jungle Girl comic book character called Camilla. If they were casting for a movie at the time, Jayne Mansfield would have been perfect for the part. Oh, look at this. Lucky Tiger. Awesome. She definitely did not have a problem showing herself off in any outfit. Not a conservative girl. Oh, this is here with her husband. This is really something else. She kind of did certain poses and things that no one else did. No disrespect to Marilyn Monroe or anything like that, but as far as like being overtly sexual, Jayne Mansfield just had it all over her. I don't think anybody pushed the limit of acceptability quite like she did. Another thing I discovered about Jayne Mansfield when I was looking up pictures for her Babe of the Day videos, she was originally just going to have one like I do for everybody else. But there are so many pictures of her out there that I had to put into 3 different videos. She's probably one of the most photographed women who ever lived. And as a matter of fact, I actually had to be selective because there's more pictures out there than I really needed to use. I like this with her dogs. She really loved dogs, by the way, as you can tell. Definitely not uptight, you know. The Lion Club was kind of giving her the business for a while. Seal gets a kiss. At the pool. If you notice these pictures where she's wearing a swimsuit in public and she's around a crowd, just kind of look at the faces on the guys all around there. It says, everybody. The poses back then were just so natural, weren't they? People just naturally just stand like that. Hey, works for me. I like this yellow spotted one. That's kind of interesting. It's not really a jungle print. Sometimes when you see people and they have these to sell or whatever, they'll mistake that for a jungle print, but it's not. It's just a spotted bikini. She did a lot of pictures where she was actually in the pool or swimming somewhere. Oh, look again, all the different people looking her over. And of course, to be truthful, she's not trying to blend. Oh, there's that lion cub again. Well, at the Tropicana or these other places, that had to be a heck of an endorsement. That's really cool. That little shower that washes her off. I just think that's just a really neat thing. Yeah, she doesn't have to wear a two-piece bikini to show off everything. Even a one-piece is not all that conservative the way she's built. This is cool. They actually came out with a hot water bottle that was in the shape of Jayne Mansfield. And you can still find them around today, and they're still like in good condition. They were really built to last. But at the time, they didn't really do a whole lot with plastics. Action figures and things like that just didn't exist back then. And even in the early days of action figures, they were still pretty crude. So to shape something in plastic like this, like they did, was really kind of neat. All aboard! Flowery. She wore like a lot of different floral print things, dresses and blouses and things like that. And I kind of like that because to me it just seems to kind of go with her personality. She just kind of seems to have that softer personality, even though she's, whoa, mama hubba hubba and all that. She still has that kind of, softer demeanor, it seems like to me, so anything floral that she wears just seems to work for her. She'd probably look good wearing a barrel. I don't know. Smoking hot. There aren't too many women that could actually be smoking a cigarette or seen smoking and still, look sexy or be sexy. At least in my opinion, says I don't generally find smoking that sexy. For her, I don't know why she can pull off a cigarette like nothing else. This particular dress that she's been wearing, it can't possibly be any tighter. I don't know how she stuffed herself into those things. Some of the most interesting looking outfits, too. There she is again with a cigarette holder and everything. And says, that just looks hot. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. That's just any man should think that's hot. That's even in that particular pose, she just looks good smoking. And what's really odd is most of the time you see her in movies and TV shows and appearances and things like that, you know. You don't see her smoking. You don't think of her as being a smoker, but tight pants and tiny shorts. She was into the most form-fitting stuff. And it looked good on her. Even the pedal pusher pants, capri pants, or whatever you want to call them. Ugh. Sweater almost doesn't fit her. There's the tiny shorts. She had a very small waist in real life. Oh, there's some tiny shorts again. Pretty posters. There's a number of posters out there for her movies that she made that I just think are really neat looking posters. Not just for her, but just kind of the way that they're assembled or they're arranged, the lettering on them. I hate to say retro because I just don't like that word. I never did like that term. That's a very new term to refer to something old, but everybody knows what that means. So that's why I say it retro. It has that little retro look that I really like. Old movie posters used to have a lot of personality because there were so many different little things that you can read on them, and they had, more than one picture, and they tried to make them as bright and interesting as possible. They weren't so dark and dreary. Probably why the old posters are so collectible. If you see any poster from pretty much the last 30 years, they're always usually they're pretty dark and uninteresting and don't have any exciting action to it. The Girl Can't Help It. That was such a big movie. There are so many people that think that that's the ultimate rock and roll movie. And it was a very, very big hit at the time. It had all these great people in it, performers, like Little Richard and Julie London. But Jayne Mansfield, that's the one that everybody... The first time they say that movie, they don't even think of the Little Richard song. They think, oh yeah, that's a Jayne Mansfield movie. The director, Frank Tashlin, he was actually in animation before this. He used to work for Warner Brothers, and a lot of the early Looney Tunes cartoons were ones that he directed. Too Hot to Handle. Good movie titles, by the way. They didn't try to downplay her sexuality, that's for sure. I like this. It's the Loves of Hercules is what it's supposed to be. But notice how this little outfit looks like Little Red Riding Hood or something. She's the love interest for Hercules in this movie, which Hercules is played by her husband, by the way, Mickey Hargitay. Be sure to watch my next Jayne Mansfield video, part 2, and there's also a part 3. Every picture is different. Every background is different. There's a whole lot more to see.